welcome to another episode of Chatty Broads with Bekah and Jess.
Well, hey, broads, gotta talk scheduling of episodes really quick because guess what? Bachelor in Paradise starts next week. Oh my Lord. So apparently there will only be one episode of Bachelor in Paradise airing next week on Monday evening on ABC. So we will be going about the typical Chatty Broads regularly scheduled programming where we will drop the recap for Monday night's BIP episode Tuesday afternoon. And then we will have our non-batch related episode drop on Thursday. But the following week, it seems in typical Batch Nation format that there will be 2 episodes of BIP airing every single week. Mondays and Tuesdays, there will be new episodes of Bachelor in Paradise. So we're having a little shift in Chatty Broad's scheduling. We will still be dropping episodes Tuesdays and Thursdays, but instead, our Tuesday episode will be our non-batch related episode, and our Thursday episode will be our recap combining the Monday and Tuesday Bachelor in Paradise episode. So that's not starting next week, but the following week. We'll continue to remind you all, but that's what it probably will be looking like with these double BIP episodes airing until Bachelor in Paradise is over and Michelle's season begins. Oh, we can't wait. But with that, let's get into the episode. Well, hey, broads. How are you doing? How are you doing this? I was about to start harmonizing with you.
Sorry.
Hey,
Hi.
You know I cannot harmonize for the life of me.
Bro, me neither. I wish I could do that. That'd be cool.
I know.
I bet you can.
I know I can. I should say this. I can do it a smidge, which then makes me frustrated because I know like I can kind of do it, but it's only random certain notes.
Okay, let's try it. Hi. There we go.
But but I can't do it right away. I can't do it right away. And it used to always be a nightmare because I used to be on the worship team at church.
Oh, no, you got to harmonize,
and,
girl.
you know, because of course it always has to be a male worship leader at the church. I was always just supposed to be harmonizing, and that was a rocky road for me.
It's like, come quickly. Just a little off.
Yeah, just always a little off. And the guy, the sound engineer would always be in the back a little bit like, it would be like just so close, but yet so far. And it makes it worse. It truly does.
When you were on stage doing the worship band, would you like have both hands in the air, like, or would you just have like one?
No. Yes.
One or both? Did you throw both up there? Sometimes?
Okay, so here's the thing. I would feel, I was so conscious and aware of it. It was just like, oh my God. I would typically do 2 low, like right here, like 2
this.
low ones, because doing 1 high one, I would every once in a while get there.
Yeah.
But 2 high ones, it was always a little too much.
That's
for
a lot.
me. But also then just the 1 high raised hand feels a little like unbalanced. And it also feels a little insecure to me. So when I'd be singing, the only way I could do that is if my other hand was holding the mic. Then I'm kind of like, okay, then I can do the 1 hand to feel a little balanced.
Would you worry about pit stains too if you're raising your hand?
I am not super sweaty in general, so I don't typically
sweat at all.
I don't really sweat very much. So I don't typically get pit stains, but what I was always worried about was any sort of wardrobe malfunction because Lord knows I was getting critiqued often for my clothing.
Of course.
The worship leaders would hear about it. They'd literally get notes being like, Jessica's outfit was too tight. It was too distracting. And I was like, sorry about it.
Although I will say you have a right to be self-conscious because I remember picking apart every single person on stage during worship.
It's kind of hard not to. They're like, standing right in front of you.
Outfit check. How hard are they trying with the arms lifted?
See, that's the thing. But I think that's also very much you and I, where we're overanalyzing everyone. Where I'm just
You're
like,
also kind of bored sometimes.
Sometimes, if the set's not great,
yeah, exactly.
We always try to impress.
How many times can we sing "Mighty to Save"?
You know what?
Which was my favorite.
That really hit me right in the gut. I really felt that one.
I like "Mighty to Save." That was one of my favorites.
That was a great song, but we sang it probably too much.
Yeah.
To anyone who did not go to a specific type of Christian church, they're like, huh? What are you guys talking about? Mighty to Save? Correct.
Did you have a favorite worship song?
Oh, I'm trying to remember the names.
You know what song I hated? I hated the one where they, just because of this one line, where they would say heaven meets earth like a sloppy wet kiss. I fucking hated that.
You know, yes, I also did. And I would, every time we'd sing it, like my body would kind of like cringe up.
And I don't like the alternate one too. The alternate lyric is heaven meets earth like an unforeseen kiss. Unforeseen kiss, that's not consensual.
No, it's really not. And if you listen to a lot of worship songs, they're very erotic / romantic.
Yes. Don't like that.
No, I don't at all. And I remember starting to really think about it because one of the guys who was on the worship team who would crack me up, like brought it up one time, was like, do you guys ever feel kind of uncomfortable when you listen to the lyrics? And I was like, I haven't really thought about it. Because like a good Christian girl, I didn't listen to the lyrics. I just listened to the melody.
Someone said, if you can sing it to your partner, then it's not a good worship song. And I was like, whoa. I mean, who cares?
That's remember when Oceans got huge and it was like on like mainstream radio as a romantic song?
That's scary. You should not be singing that song about your partner.
Understandably, but it's not clearly about God. Well, yeah. No, it's like spirit lead me, right? Spirit lead me when my touch is without borders. Walk upon the waters.
Yeah.
I loved singing that song at church.
I like that song too.
That song we used to really...
Wait, are those two separate songs? Oceans and that one?
No, it's the same song.
Oh, okay.
That's like the bridge or whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I am yours and you are mine. Yeah, it comes after that.
Mm-hmm.
That was like people are singing that as a romantic song?
Maybe it wasn't romantic, but it was on mainstream radio, and I remember seeing people who I knew were not Christians like posting it on their Instagram, like the lyrics and stuff, and I was like, what do these mean to you?
Rise, my soul will rest in your soul rest in your embrace, for I am yours and you are mine. I mean, I guess. Yeah, spirit lead. That part gets a little weird if you're singing it to your partner.
I mean,
I like that song though. It's a comforting song, you know? I think sometimes some of those worship songs are great because it's like when you're amidst a storm in your life, you need to feel some grounding.
Oh, girl, I will still regularly listen to Oceans when I'm feeling a little off. Yeah. I will always, like, my body can't not run to a worship song because it just, sometimes they just provide a little bit of comfort, depending on the song.
Yeah, and I think I like some of the ones too. I like the ones that are a little less romancy and a little more, like there are some songs, like, you know, like I've said in the past, I love a Third Day song. Some of the old ones, they're much more like father oriented, which can be kind of comforting sometimes, where you're like, oh, like it's like this like
parental,
divine parental relationship. It's like comforting and soothing.
There's one song, I forget how it's, because of your love, I can stand with you forever.
Is that a Third Day one?
In the presence of my Savior. Oh, that one always gets me.
I mean, they're like, passionate songs, you know, they're like your soul is being moved by the music.
Oh, when I was like in high school and I'd go to camp and they'd start playing those, I'd be like on the floor writhing.
For real.
I'm just like, you just feel it in my bones. Became a Christian 17,000 times. You'd embrace all of your friends around you and like you'd have that moment together and then you'd all go make out behind a tree.
In the comments section, can people please link, like, this is a little bit of a, not what we were just talking about, but link like how, or tell me how you find good new music, because I'm not gonna lie, I've been listening to so much kids music lately. I'm trying to like get back into like contemporary music, and whenever I listen to my own music, I start listening to music from like 2014, and it's like, you know, we're in 2021 now.
I know.
So I look up new music Friday, but then it's all like fucking Lil Uzi Vert, which I'm fine with sometimes, but I'm like,
sometimes you're just not in the mood for that.
No, I'm like, I want to listen to a song that's gonna like really move me.
I find out a lot of my new music through just like playlists on Spotify. Like I look up a mood or whatever. But in general, I will tell you, Evan does is critical of me often because whenever we get in the car and he knows it's about to be a long drive and I take the playlist, he goes, it's always like, I know you're going to play old songs. Like, I know you're going to play like your early 2000 songs and go back there. I'm like, yeah, but those, those were some of my favorite. And Evan's always up on all the new stuff because he'll be working with different people. Sure. And so he'll be like, what about this? But like you were saying, a lot of the times the music is very like similar energy and I'm like not necessarily in that space.
I want something like a little more cinematic, I guess, in a way, a little more moving. Maybe not
I want my life to be a movie, and I want when I'm driving. Yes.
I can't remember the last time I listened to a new song and I'm driving in my car and I'm like, this is a roll the windows down, I'm in a movie right now song. I haven't listened to one of those in a new song in a long time.
Do you know what was really bugging me? Speaking of music, and shout out to my family, I adore you. But when we were in Puerto Vallarta this last week, I made playlists beforehand.
Yes.
And I'm like, I go to Puerto Vallarta, I want traditional music.
Oh, yeah.
I'm in the pool, like we are there, okay? My dad, it's only top 40. Over and over again. And I would put my playlist on and my dad would be like, all right, that's enough. And he would just want he'd want his Peaches, he'd want his Levitating. Yes. He'd want his Cardi, which I love them all. But at one point we had Levitating on repeat for about 45 minutes.
Oh my God. See, and that's the thing. I feel like a lot of people are trying to make songs now to be TikTok songs.
Yes, that's how songs blow up now, is on TikTok. Now,
and I can feel it in the energy.
Yes, well, there's literally a style of writing. Evan was talking to me about it the other day. Like, there's literally like a specific style of writing, like that is, they call them TikTok songs, and you can literally you can hear it right off the bat. I will tell you, though, I have discovered some very good new songs from TikTok that are a little more cinematic, like a couple new artists that I hadn't heard before that I was like, I like to go on a TikTok playlist every once in a while, and I feel like I can find new stuff that's not like on New Music Friday,
My dad likes to listen to breakup songs. He gets really into really sad breakup songs.
I love
and he's like, oh, listen to this one. This one just made me cry the other day in the car thinking of your mom. My parents are together.
My gosh, I love that so much.
Kind of, except they're just like corny. They can be corny like
country
songs. Not always, but
you know that I was not a fan of country in these days. It's just been I've been listening to some old school like Blake Shelton.
Yeah, I mean, it's good though.
You know that I had that song playing a lot this week. That was also bugging my family. It was your lips taste like sangria over and over again. Okay, broads, quick pause. Listen, when I started my own family, I very quickly realized that there are about 1 million questions and factors that determine how kids fit into your life. Do I want 1 or 4 or none? Do I want them now or down the road? Do I even know what I want? But in order to answer any of those questions, you really need the proper information about your fertility health. It's the simplest way to make sure you can decide what's best for you and your family, and that's why modern fertility was invented.
With Modern Fertility's at-home fertility test, finding out about your fertility health has never been simpler or more accessible. Typically, fertility testing at a doctor's office can run you well over $1,000, but with Modern Fertility, you can get all the same information for a fraction of the cost. You'll still get insight into your hormone levels, how many eggs you have, and even the option to talk to a one-on-one fertility nurse if you want to discuss your next steps.
I'm still undecided on adding to my little family, but I still took the test because knowing where my health stands allows me to be empowered for when I am ready to make that decision. And it's so easy, broads. Just take the test with a simple prick of your finger and mail it back with the prepaid label. And in just 10 days, you'll have your personalized results along with the peace of mind knowing you got all the information you need to shape your future.
Right now, Modern Fertility is offering our listeners $20 off the test when you go to modernfertility.com/chatty. That means your test will cost only $139 instead of the several hundred or even $1,000+ it could cost at a doctor's office. Get $20 off your fertility test when you go to modernfertility.com/chatty. That's modernfertility.com/chatty.
You know those tasks that you just really don't want to do every single day? You put it on your to-do list, and every single night you realize another day has passed when you didn't do it.
This feels relevant.
Like we're going to talk about this later in the episode, Broads. Just you wait. For some people, it's grocery shopping. For others, it's doing laundry. For me, it's always truly been going to the post office.
Yeah, that feels like a universal one.
Like returns. Yeah. Oh my Lord. I just do not want to go stand in line at the post office. So now I don't. Thanks to stamps.com.
Seriously, guys, when you use stamps.com, there's no need to go to the post office because the post office comes to you. You'll be able to do everything you would normally do at the post office right from your home computer. You can print official U.S. postage and shipping labels 24/7. Once you're done, all you need to do is schedule a pickup or drop off your packages, and that's it.
Not only does stamps.com save you time, but it'll also even save you money. When you use stamps.com, you'll get access to discounts and savings that you can't even get at the post office, like up to 40% off USPS rates and up to 60% off UPS shipping rates.
So stop wasting time going to the post office and go to stamps.com instead. There's no risk. And with our promo code CHATTY, you get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale. There are no long-term commitments or contracts. Just go to stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in CHATTY. That's stamps.com, promo code CHATTY. Stamps.com, never go to the post office again.
It's so good.
Maybe I need to start watching American Idol again. Maybe that's how I'll discover new music and new artists.
Is it still around?
My parents watch it.
For real?
Yes.
Their stands?
Yes.
Oh, I kind of love.
My dad's like, I love Katy Perry. I actually really like her takes. And I always watch it and I'm like, I hate her. No, my parents love it. And what they do is they just, I posted this on my story a few months ago. They just fast forward like to all the performances. They're like, don't care about the backstory, don't care about the drama. And they just fast forward to the performances and then they judge everyone's performance.
Respect because that was the thing about American Idol that I wasn't a fan of. I don't like all the excess.
The fluff.
I want to hear the performances.
Your daughter at home. And
Listen, everyone is like, oh, my favorite weeks are the audition weeks. Those would make me crazy. I want to see like the top 12 and I want the theme every week. And I want to be like, yes, I love The Voice because of that. Yeah. Because I feel like they don't, well, I guess they go. I feel like you see a lot more artists though. Like the auditions for The Voice, fantastic.
You don't have all the stupid bullshit.
No one shows up on stage not being fantastic. Yeah. Everyone who gets on stage is good. Even if they're not the best, they're all talented.
Oh, see, I gotta say, I do love those dumbass auditions. I mean.
Yeah. Do you know that I auditioned for American Idol?
When? What year? Why are you laughing?
Because it was a low point in my life.
Tell me more.
Let me tell you this.
Tell me more. I can't wait. Did you get to meet them? The icons?
No.
Oh,
I did not go far. I did not go far at all. I'll tell you that the same day that I didn't make the audition for American Idol was the same day that I signed up for Christian Mingle.
How old were you?
Like 20.
Is this when you and Evan were broken up?
So Evan broke up with me. And around the same time that Evan broke up with me, he broke up with me at the beginning of summer, which how dare he?
I know.
School's over. Now I'm just home, just kicking rocks. Like, you got nothing to do. But thankfully for
No boo.
No boo. Thankfully for me, my best friend at the time, her boyfriend and her were long distance, and he broke up with her like 2 days apart from when Evan broke up with me.
God.
And we trauma bonded more.
Yes.
And so we were like, you know what? We're going to make this our summer. Like, let's do something crazy. And we both sang. And so we're like, oh my God. Like I saw American Idol audition, whatever. I'm like, oh my God, let's audition for American Idol. So we're looking for American Idol auditions near us. We had missed them.
Yeah.
The only one left was an American Idol audition in Kansas. So we booked ourselves 2 flights to Kansas.
No way.
Yeah. Booked ourselves 2 flights to Kansas. We got there. I'll never forget. We hop in this, before Uber.
We hop in the cab at Kansas airport with my dream in a cardigan.
I I probably had some insane like cap on, like Newsies cap on, and like a vest over my t-shirt, and I was just like, I'm about to do this thing. America's not ready for me. Oh my god. And oh my god. And so we get in the back of the
One of those like little vests, and you're wearing like a white tee underneath.
Oh no. The tiny,
Yes.
like tweed vest,
Yes.
white tee underneath, belly out with the lowrider jeans and the big buckle.
That's
And, like,
hot,
the
baby.
cap.
That's hot.
I was,
you know, these
feeling myself.
say with their Y2K outfits, don't even come at me until you've got the little white tee with the little vest.
Come on. And then that big ass buckle. Do you remember?
And you also have the bra where you could see the bra lines
of
through the
course.
white tee because it's so tight.
But do you remember the big buckles that were covered in crystals?
Oh.
That might have been, I
Wow.
you know, a
That's
little bit
hot.
older. They're huge, covered in like maybe a peace sign of crystals.
I don't feel like I remember that trend. I mean, I remember like the belts with like the grommets. You know what I'm like?
Yeah, sure.
The real classic ones that
Sure.
are like kind of back in style now.
Loved those.
I don't.
You know what?
remember those.
I'm gonna find one of these buckles online and I'm gonna start rocking it because honest to
Do
God,
it,
it was
queen.
kind of iconic.
Was that around the same time when people were into like rhinestone bangles? Do you remember when that was a thing?
Yeah, I think it was maybe around that time.
Okay.
It was around that time, perhaps. So I was rocking that look.
2005, 2006, probably.
Yes, it was. It was 2007.
Okay.
It
Yeah.
was 2007. So I hop in the back of the cab with my friend, and I will never forget. We asked the driver, we're like, we're gonna be crazy. We're like, are there any local clubs? And the driver is like, well, we have like one, and then we don't have fake IDs because we're proper Christian girls. Okay. So we're not 21. And he's like, it's 21 and over. And we had this fantasy in our minds that we were going to go to Kansas.
You guys are going to be these LA girls that they're going to let into the club.
We're going to get into the clubs. We're going to go crazy.
Yeah.
And, that didn't happen. We went straight to our hotel room that was like a DoubleTree. Maybe it was something. And, and we got there, we just kind of went to bed pretty early. Oh no. First we went to a California pizza kitchen.
Yeah.
How embarrassing
gross.
that we went to Kansas and from California and went straight to a California pizza kitchen.
That's sad.
I asked for avocado on mine and it was like $12 extra. And it was like one sad brown slice.
CPK isn't even good.
I mean, I do like a few things from CPK. I can't lie to you. But the fact that we went there, it was embarrassing. And then the next day, we did the whole like audition, get our things. Like you get like your...
Wait, did you guys go to the club? And they were like, no, you can't come in, you don't have IDs.
No, we didn't even try because we were like that.
Yeah.
It was like, oh, we're not allowed, so we're not going to go. Like end
Yeah.
of the story.
Yeah.
So it was just sad and embarrassing. And then it's like these 48-hour audition process. You wait in line for forever. And then you're like in this huge auditorium. And then you audition with like 15 people at once, like a line at a time. And they give you literally like 10 seconds to sing.
Yeah.
And I didn't.
That's scary. So they're moving you quick. They're just like, let's see.
And I froze. And my friend she did fine, but I froze and we didn't make it. And so then
What do you mean you froze? Did you sing?
I started to sing, but I was just it was very weak. I really didn't give it umph because
You're
in my brain, they were going to give me like a bigger chunk of time.
like, amazing grace.
In my brain, they're like going to give me a little bit of time to ramp up into it.
Yeah.
It was like you got
You
one
were getting a
line.
full
And so I
audition.
was like, and I sang like the first line, which gave
They
you
were
nothing.
looking for like a Jennifer Hudson to be like,
You
belt
could
some
just
shit out.
belt
Yeah.
something crazy or someone ridiculous
Yeah.
for this, whatever. So we sadly got booted after waiting for like 48 hours. And then we went back to our hotel room and we felt like shit about ourselves and our boyfriends leaving us. And then we were like, it would make us feel better if we went on Christian Mingle and like fluffed our feathers a little bit. Because at the time, people on Christian Mingle were just older. There weren't like young people on Christian Mingle. So we signed up for Christian Mingle at a lonely hotel in Kansas in 2007 after failing our American Idol auditions.
That's amazing. Do you have any photos from that experience?
Oh, maybe. I don't know. I've never been good at remembering to take pictures.
You're so in the moment.
I'm very in the moment. Very.
Speaking of which, tell me about your Puerto Vallarta trip.
Oh my God. It was really fun, actually. So I went with, you see all my bug bites? I went with my dad and stepmom, stepbrother, sister, and then my girlfriend, Katie. And it was so much fun. It was super relaxing.
Nice.
My
highlight
dad
and low light.
Okay. The highlight, the highlight is honestly probably just in general, just not having social media for a week and floating around in a pool all day and not having any responsibility. That was just it. It's been a while. It was like not having to wake up because the baby's waking up.
Were you like so sleepy too all day? Because I know whenever I go to like my parents' house or like a cabin or something and I don't have any household chores or like emails, I'm just sort of like, I'm like constantly tired.
No, you're immediately tired.
Yeah.
And my dad wanted to rage.
Yeah.
And so my dad was really pushing me to rage, and I would try, and then like I would get so tired and be like, I need to go to sleep, and he's like, stay up and drink with me, and I'm like, but I'm so tired. Let me sleep. And I was like trying to explain to him that I'm like, Dad, like this is the first week in as long as I can remember that like I don't have Ember and I don't have work.
Yeah.
And so I just kind of want to just gel. Yeah. And my dad's like, bitch, I work constantly. And it's true. Yeah. But I'm like, but the way you gel is you rage. And I was a little sleepykins. But that was the best part. The low honestly made me laugh, but it was out of control. So it's very, very rainy in Puerto Vallarta, very stormy. And so it like poured every day. Yeah. Like poured. And the last time we had stayed at this spot,
was it the same spot you went with Evan?
Yes.
I thought I recognized it from the infinity pool. Yes. And I was like, wait a second. Same spot?
It's like a top. It's like this, it's like more like kind of an apartment complex, and it's completely open air. And it's so nice.
Because like the kitchen's like right on the pool.
It's right on the pool.
Love
and
that.
The view is just mental.
Love it.
But it's open air. So when it rains, if the drains aren't working, it completely floods. And it rains there like every day, like pours.
You think they'd have that in check?
You'd think, but the first time we went, the like second day, it was pouring in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden, like pouring, and all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, and the water's like flowing in, and I'm not joking. The water got to be about 2-3 inches in the whole like the whole kitchen, starting in the hallway by the bedrooms, living room, everything, and it's lightning like crazy. So God. I'm in a full paranoia mode. I'm like, everyone put on rubber soles, because I was like, we're gonna get struck by lightning because we're in like 2 inches of water. And I like have like these like water shoes on, and I'm walking like I'm like shifting, like they're like I'm avoiding a stingray or something. Yeah. And I was I know nothing about weather because I've been from here my whole life. And then we were calling the people from like this kind of hotel thing, and they're like, they weren't picking up. And then a drunk gentleman showed up late in the night and was like trying to get it fixed, and he just brought us tons of towels, and we were just covering the crowd. And then the next day we realized the drains were clogged. Got it. So day one of this trip, we made sure that the drains were not clogged.
Good on you.
But this trip, it was raining way more. Yeah. But it was flowing through the drains. It was so nice to be in and watching like all the lightning and the thunder. Cool. It's like pouring. Well, the last day that we were there, it had been many days of torrential rain at moments, and this one was next level. Like the dumping, everyone was kind of like, hey, this is pretty wild right now. But my dad fashion was like, we're going to dinner, and like he had made reservations at this nice spot. So we all get into the cab. The cab takes a long time to get there. And when he pulls up, he's kind of like, not a lot of cabs are out right now because the streets, there's inclines everywhere and the water is rushing down. Oh shit, yeah. Like rivers. And so we get in the cab and we start driving and the first like kind of alleyway that we hit that we have to drive through that has this incline. Becca, when I tell you it was a raging river, like it was a raging river, and the guy just starts driving through it. I mean, it's up to our windows. I'm not joking. What? And I'm like in the back, and I was just like, I'm never gonna see Ember again. Like, I'm panicking, and we try to go through it, and the car starts like drifting, like going down the river, and the guy has puts the parking brake on.
Is it like lifted up off the ground? Oh my God.
We almost went into the sea. Our king of a cab driver gets us through. And then as he's driving, and we're driving now through like the water is all so high. You didn't get
any videos of this?
I didn't have my phone with me. And we're literally, and honestly, even if we would have, all of us were glued to the seat, except my dad was just like, we're late to our reservation. He's like, I heard they have great shrimp. And I'm like, how are you not affected by this right now? And he's like, oh, in Pittsburgh, we always had tons of weather, stuff like this. I was like this? This is wild. And so we're all glued to the back of the car. And then, but we're going through, we continue to drive through, and there's so much water. Then apparently rocks have been drifting down, and the cab driver hits something, like a rock or something, and all of a sudden us in the back feel like, gung, 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 like whatever. And it's so loud. And it's so loud, but he keeps driving. And then we turn a corner, and there's like one other cab out. He starts honking at him and is like telling him to pull over. We pull over. The entire bumper is gone.
Oh my God.
Gone. Because like it hit something under the water. I don't know what it was. So this poor man, my dad like paid for he got his number, and he paid for all of the all of the cab stuff. He was like, I asked you to come out, so I'm paying for all of your damages.
Was the cab driver upset?
No, he was fine. He was kind of laughing. He's like, this is wild.
This shit's crazy. Never seen anything like this.
It's just like, yeah. So then he looks at the guy and he goes, is there someone else I can call? Because the restaurant is still pretty far. And I'm like, at this point, we're out of the cab, up against the side of like a small, like closed shop, drenched, because even though we're under a little overhang, the rain is still pouring down and it's like hitting us. And you stand in that rain for 2 seconds, you're completely soaked. And so we're just like shaking and freezing. And my dad's like, is there another cab we can call? And the guy's like, I don't know. And as soon as he says one other cab driver like pulls up, and my dad has him come over, and he's like, I need to get over there. And the guy's like, no one's driving over there. He's like, we all have to park. It's way too dangerous. There are falling rocks. There is torrential rain. Like it is wild right now.
Dad's like, I made a reservation.
Yes, he did. And I go, absolutely not. Like, no. Like, I am not putting my life at risk so that
There's no one at the restaurant.
No, like, first of all, everyone's left the restaurant. I'm not putting myself at risk so that you can go to Trio. I don't know. I don't care how nice the menu looked. Like, we're not going. And my dad's just like, and I shut it down. But the man was like willing to go through.
He's like, how much do I have to pay? The man's like, no, sir, you will die.
He literally, that was the conversation. And I was like, no. So then we convinced my dad to just go. There was like a restaurant at the bottom of the hill that we were at. And we're like, okay, can we just go to that? And we went in there, and the whole restaurant was flooded. Everywhere was flooded. Yeah. And so we ate in a little bit of water because Dad wanted to eat out. I was like, we could just go back. We have leftovers at the house. Thankfully, the rain stopped while we were eating, and so we were able to drive home. Safely. It's crazy how quick it starts and stops, but
wow, that was fun.
It was fun. It was a good memory, and it was a little hectic. But then the next day, we were talking to one of the folks who worked at the hotel, and they were like, "Oh, it got wild last night." And apparently there's a lot of crocodiles there. And they were showing us video footage of how, because of all the water and pushing the water from like rivers and the ocean, they were showing us the video clips of like the crocodiles like floating through like the town by the cars.
Hell no.
And I was like, I'm scared of crocodiles.
Hell no.
Crocodile or shark? What's scarier?
Crocodile.
right? Way
Yeah.
scarier.
They can run on land.
They can chase you. You
There's
can't
a shark. Get the fuck out of the water.
get out
You'll
of
be
the
fine.
water. Get out of the water. And then after they told us about the crocodiles, the next day we did the banana boat before we left, and I was very scared.
Did you see any?
I didn't see any.
There's this place in Costa Rica, Crocodile Bridge. And you stand on this bridge and people throw like raw meat over the side, and there's all these crocodiles below the bridge, like just tons of them. And you'll throw meat and you'll see them all just go like,
Dude, it's crazy when you look at them and you're like, oh, you're a dinosaur.
yes,
You're a dinosaur.
straight up prehistoric. Like,
yeah, you are from another time, and like the meteor didn't get you.
yeah.
Like that's what you are. You're like the small son of whatever that one really, really big dinosaur
But some of them ain't small. Some of them are like 12 feet.
gigantic. Very afraid of crocodiles. Very afraid of a crocodile.
Yeah, and in Florida, people have like alligators just in their pools sometimes.
That's wild. Oh my God, Broads, let us know if you have a crazy crocodile story. That I was watching YouTube videos actually the other day of people like in their backyards, and they're being like creatures in their pools. And that is like, I remember being so in awe and wowed when the pandemic started and I saw like a coyote sitting in someone's front lawn during the day, and I was like, oh my God, nature. Look at it.
Oh my God, there's our
Dude, your
house has been
house-
crazy, dude.
There's like 17 raccoons.
Grayson was like, come here. Oh my God, I got so scared.
I love it.
So
So
I
I
walked,
saying it calmly, like, come here. And then there's just 15.
he's like, come here. We look out the back window. Yeah, there's a giant mama raccoon, like 3 babies. And they're just like with their little paws, just like eating the cat food. And then they see me, and we have a cat door right there. And the mama raises up and starts walking to the door. And I'm like, and like trying to put the cat door on as quickly as I can. I was so scared. I do not fuck with raccoons, dude.
Raccoons are a little mischievous.
They are intimidating. I remember one time I was coming home from a party at UC Irvine, and I was in our apartment building that had an elevator, and I was walking to the elevator, and there was like 3 raccoons like standing in front of the elevator on their hind feet, and I was like, nope, taking the stairs up
On
4
their
flights
hind
now.
feet?
No, that's the thing. The one the other day stood up, and when they stand up, you know, they're like this tall.
That is actually horrifying.
It is scary. And I'm like, oh,
actually
hell no.
horrifying.
I'm not about to get rabies or some shit from these.
Oh, the rabies. I forget about that.
And then there's a million possums around, like with the baby that came into our house.
Yeah, considering you guys live in the city, you got a lot of nature going in and out of your home.
I opened the back door to put the recycling out the other day, and there's a skunk right there that then ran to the bushes. And it was literally the night before we had I had a photo shoot, and I was like, can you imagine if I got sprayed by a skunk and had to show up at 8 a.m. the next morning just utterly reeking? And I think that would be I think it like burns your eyes and all that shit. Anyway, thankfully the skunk did not spray me, but yeah, there's a skunk going around.
Because the skunk, I've never been sprayed by a skunk either. Now, I will say that a skunk is so cute. If they weren't little stinkies, they are quite adorable and beautiful.
And they're don't even front like you don't just think they're stylish as hell accessories.
A
skunk on a leash?
A skunk on a leash.
Or on your shoulder or some shit?
That is so chic. I can't even wrap my brain around it.
I know.
Like, people are out here with like their fancy dogs. Please. A snake, please. A skunk. I mean, at the end of the day, like, one of the big reasons we initially got Boris was I was like, wow, look at how big he is. Like, I was wowed by that.
Right.
And then
right.
and then they happen to just be the biggest cuddle bugs ever.
It's the it factor though.
But you're like, wow.
Like Dalmatians. I mean,
I used to have a neighbor who had 2 Great Danes, and she would walk them on
so posh.
a leash at the same, like in 2 separate leashes, and she was kind of like a willow tree of a human being and would walk, and it was like so proper, and every time she'd walk by I'd be like, damn,
that's
what
cool.
What a move.
What a move.
I always wanted a hedgehog. I think hedgehogs are so cute. They're not chic, but they're
boring.
adorable.
Oh my God, dude. So when I asked people about their hamster stories, you know, I mean, you sent me one. But I have to just quick segue and give a PSA. You know what I realized from it? Okay, so I started looking it up because a lot of people sent in stories about the mamas eating their babies after they're born.
Yeah.
You know why that is?
Why?
It's when they're stressed or they're confined in too small of a space. And just the hamsters literally feel like they're not mentally capable of like taking care of the babies. So that's why they eat them. They're just like, I can't handle this responsibility.
Stop it. Okay, then
So this is my
the PSA. No hamsters.
Stop. And well, not for kids. If you are an adult that has a big spacious cage and you're going to take care of the hamster, you know the 101s of hamster care, there's actually a lot of them, then it's okay, I think. But you have to give them a lot of space. When they have their babies, they have to be in a dark, safe area, all that. Hamsters, this is my PSA. Hamsters are not children's pets.
No.
Don't buy hamsters for your kids. Trust me, after all those stories I read, I realized hamsters are not good pets for children.
Just because a creature is small doesn't mean that it's easy to take care of. Like, there are so many animals at pet stores and things like that like they're just little, and so people just buy them, and they're really like chameleons are so, you have to be so diligent in your care for them and so on top of it. Like
turtles too.
Turtles, like I mean, like even like you said, hamsters, little guinea pigs, they are so like they get so scared, and like I always, what always makes me upset is when I go to the pet store and I see how inexpensive a hamster is, and like that makes it then easy to get. And that's like a living being. I know, it's fucked up. People, it's just don't buy the hamsters. Don't buy them for your kids. Just don't. Did you have a hamster? Yeah, that's how it started. Okay, that's how it started. My hamster bit the other one's head off. Oh God, I don't remember what happened between the two of mine. I was really little, but I did have 2 hamsters, and I remember getting them and literally realizing, like, as my parents gave them to me, that I'm like I'm not gonna like be playing with them. Yeah, because you could tell they didn't want to be held. No, that's the thing. They're not good pets for children. They get very easily stressed and scared. Now, potentially a bunny rabbit, on the other hand, I had really, really close relationships with my bunnies. I love my bunnies too. Bunnies, wow. They, like, I had one of my bunnies slept with me every single night, and like he would just be like, want me to cradle him like a baby, and he would be outside, and then he would knock on the door after he was done going potty with his little paw. No, I've heard they're so easy to potty train. So easy to potty train. My bunny died of a heart attack. Oh no. Literally the next door neighbor's cat. Heart attack? The next door neighbor's cat scared it to death. That's how sweet the bunny was. The next door neighbor's cat. That is too much for my heart. The next door neighbor's cat like didn't even attack it or anything. Just like was like hissing at it or whatever, scared it. My mom found our bunny and it was just like shaking, and then it just died later that day. It was just it scared it to death. That's so sad. And I cried. We couldn't decide on his name. Half of us wanted to name him Big Daddy, and the half of us wanted to name him Mr. Snow. So his name was Big Daddy Mr. Snow. That's so cute. That is also like one of my most favorite like child family things, is that you just make a gigantic name because no one can agree on it. Did you have a lot of pets as a kid? I did. Yeah, me too. I loved animals. I mean, I still love animals. Our house was like, it was a given. We always had to have at least a couple pets. Yeah. That is the one thing about living where we live, right? Where it's like, I don't know, the idea of like raising a little one, like with more foliage around and like the ability to like, take care of animals. I wish, because Ember is like so into animals. I know your little ones are so into animals. It's like, I know we had goats. We never actually had chickens though. Oh, but you want to get the chickens. Yeah, and everyone's been giving me chicken tips, but let me tell you, my mother-in-law is the chicken master, so she will be giving me all the tips. Don't worry, I know what I'm getting myself into thanks to her, but I just want them for fresh eggs. Yeah. Other than your chickens, how have you been? How's life been? Life has been good. I was just in Santa Cruz visiting my sister, which was fun. I'm loving that my kids are getting old enough now to where we can do like overnights without them. Yes. Is like really nice. And we can like, I can leave them with both of them with Gray for a couple nights. Because I was gone for 2 nights and was able to leave Franklin for both nights. They're getting in that age where like it's manageable and you're not having to be constantly breastfeeding. The first year is done. It's a big exhale. Woo! It's a big exhale. So yeah, Gray and I are going to like Oregon next month for like just 2 nights. Going to Portland to see some of his friends. So I'm happy we're in that stage with the kids.
Got a new nanny. We love her.
Oh, I'm so glad.
She's actually like turns out to be like just a better fit. More flexible with her schedule and all of that.
Did you start school, or are you starting school?
No, I don't start till like first week of September, I want to say. But I think it's only one night a week, and it's like 6:30 to 9:30.
Okay.
Something like that. To look up the dates actually, or the days and times. So looking forward to that. That'll be really chill. It's just like
continuing the education.
Yeah, I've technically already taken this class at UCI before actually, but it was like 6 years ago. So
you're like, I'm gonna ace it.
Like, here we go.
All these other motherfuckers, it's their first round. I know all the answers. I'm ready. I'm coming at you 6 years later, and I'm gonna destroy all of you.
Well, my plan honestly is like, I think like, so for grad school, you have to apply in December for the next fall. So my plan is December 2022. So like a year from this winter, I'm going to apply for grad school that would start fall 2023. Wow. So 2 years from now.
Grad school for art? Mm-hmm. Damn.
So do you think one day I can be a professor?
I was going to say, do you feel like that is what's kind of in the cards for you in your future?
Yeah, like when I get older, I think I would love to be like a professor or a high school teacher. I used to think I wanted to do younger kids, but now I've realized like having my own kids and being a nanny for a little while, I think I want more like intellectual stimulation with like
sure, it would keep you excited.
Adults.
And then you'd have like a new class. Like if you were a college professor, like a new class every single year of like new young minds, like talking like high art. That's cool.
Yeah, and I had a professor, I ended up taking like 4 classes with her, and she was like, she was just really impactful on like the way I saw the world in every aspect. Like I think it was technically like a design class, but she was talking about everything from like gender to race to like environmental issues, and her classes were just basically whatever she wanted to talk about and she would just always be doing rants and stuff, but she was like really impactful.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I could see myself, I would love to do that. Like, and her class, the way that she saw it was like, I'm going to break down everything you've learned the past like 13 years and teach you how to like think on your own and challenge the ideas that you've been holding that have been programmed with you in society.
It's crazy how a professor will change your life and stick with you for forever. Like I know like obviously just teachers in general, but I had something similar. I had my world religions professor. I took like 5-6 classes from him because after the first class, I remember just being like captivated and him like questioning a lot of the narratives that I had been raised with. And
you kind of have an intellectual crush on them where you're just like, I want to be around you and hear everything you have to say, and I want you to validate me and think that I'm smart. And
let me tell you, I started the class with him when I was my first year in college when I was single, and I was like, I loved him, and he was just the best. I remember he then one day showed up and he brought his oldest son to class, and his oldest son was a dime. And he was maybe like a year older than me. So we're like same age. And his son was like up front and like helping him or whatever. And I was like, I could be related to my favorite professor. I was obsessed with the idea of it. Absolutely obsessed with the idea of it. Unfortunately.
Didn't come to pass.
No, but it was funny because like years later, I started kind of working for him occasionally, like with assistant type stuff, because I was interning. And at that point, again, I got back together with Evan and all that. And we had one conversation once. His wife was in the office and she was like, oh, are you dating anybody? I'm like, yeah, I've been seeing like, my boyfriend for a while. And she's like, oh man, she's like, I just wish we could have introduced you to our son.
And you were like,
and I was like, it's never too late. Because I loved it. I loved my professor and his wife. And I was just like,
I want to be part of your family.
Like,
I'll do anything it takes.
Oh my gosh. It was so good. But point is, professor changed your life. I'll never forget the things that I learned in his classes.
Yeah. So actually, that's my hope. Doing Long Beach City too is like for grad school, you need solid recommendations and what do you call it? Yeah, I guess letters of recommendation.
Yeah.
What are they called? Like contacts? Like what do you call it in a resume?
I thought it was a letter of on a resume.
You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
What are those things called? It's gonna bug me.
This is gonna make me crazy.
All right. Well.
Everyone's screaming.
I know.
At the bottom, everyone's screaming at their audio right now, like, it's a fucking da-da-da.
No, I can't think of what it's called. But anyway, so I'm like, okay, it'll be good for me to build even community college professor, not even, especially community college professor relationships.
Yeah.
So that, because I'm probably going to apply to Long Beach State, UCLA, and UC Irvine will probably be the 3 I'll be
That's
applying
exciting.
to.
That's very exciting. Okay, Brads, one more pause. Listen, I distinctly remember getting my first credit card as an 18-year-old, and if I could go back in time to the Jess that was opening up that card that had just arrived in the mail, man, I tell you, I would slap that thing out of my hand so fast. A few bad impulse buys later, and I felt like I was drowning in debt, and that sucks. We also talk about this a little bit later in the episode, and I can tell you from experience, you don't need to buy designer clothes to rack up a bill. It can be little things that just add up so fast, and if you can relate to that crushing feeling of debt, there's a way out with Upstart.
Upstart is the fast and easy way to pay off your debt with a personal loan right from your home computer. In the past, if you needed a loan, that might mean taking a meeting at your local bank, and 9 times out of 10, you would be denied for one reason or another. But Upstart knows you're so much more than your credit score, and everyone deserves help. So that's why they take into account a whole host of other factors when offering your loan rates. And you can even get access to the funds as fast as 1 business day.
Upstart can help you pay off credit cards, consolidate high-interest debt, or even fund a personal expense. So far, over 500,000 people have used Upstart to help stabilize their financial situation. I wish this existed when I was younger, Broads.
Find out how Upstart can lower your monthly payments today when you go to upstart.com/chatty. That's upstart.com/chatty. And don't forget to use our URL to let them know we sent you. Loan amounts will be determined based on your credit, income, and certain other information provided in your loan application. That's upstart.com/chatty. Upstart. So that's I watched the Anthony Bourdain documentary, which you should watch. You're gonna love it.
I saw you post. I love. Okay,
You're going to love it.
I can't wait.
You're going to love it.
I can't wait.
But after Gray and I were cracking up because he was like, "How are you so creatively inspired?" Because it's just kind of one of those movies that's like this person lived this legacy, this vibrant life of pursuing their passion. And I was like, yes, my next thing is in a few years, I'll be done with Instagram and I'll be ready to become a famous artist will be my next foray. So who knows?
I love those.
Manifesting a new path.
Well, we know how good your manifesting is. Let's be honest. And I feel like those types of movies and stuff, I treasure them. They really do. They do spark so much creativity.
And they sit with you.
Yeah, they'll push me through like a rut. Do you know what show I hate? It made me think because Anthony Bourdain. I don't like cooking. We all know this, right? I like watching cooking shows, though. On Netflix, have you watched Chef's Table?
No, but I've heard it. I mean, I've heard it's really good.
Okay, so it's all different chefs in each episode, and they're all over the world. The way that this show is shot and the music and the stories behind it, I mean, you watch it and you're like, I don't know why I'm crying because there's nothing emotional, like technically emotional happening, but the art form of their cooking and their passion is so emotionally moving that I'll be bawling at the end of it and so creatively inspired. Inspired to cook? No. Inspired to do other things? Yes.
Inspired to pursue what's important to you.
Yeah,
food is so important to some people.
It's literally even it sounds so stupid, but I've been so bad about reading the past couple of years. I've just really slacked. I used to read quite a bit and I don't read anymore. And I watched this Chef's Table episode and there's no reading in it. But I afterwards, it was so just literary in the way that it was filmed. I was like, I must read again. And I've been going through books again and it very much reduces my anxiety. Reading.
Yeah,
I'm
helps me
behind.
too.
I'm behind a screen way too often. It's like either TV or the phone, whatever.
Sometimes even like workouts. It's like you're like, oh my God, I am like living my whole life and
Always a screen.
virtual therapy, virtual workouts, virtual blah, 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 blah.
Just like sitting and like feeling my fingers on a book in like silence. It's just like, oh my gosh, the anxiety.
I even
is just...
use a Kindle, so I'm even in front of the screen for my books. It's not the same though. The Kindle Paperwhite doesn't have like a light. Have you ever used Kindle?
I've never used a Kindle before.
Life changing. I
Really?
was always averse to it because I was like, I want a physical book in my hand. No, the Kindle like Paperwhite, it's got like a papery finish. It's not bright. It literally looks like a page of a book. I don't know how to describe it, but you can use these apps too to rent ebooks from your library that you can get right on your Kindle. So you can like, I've just been reading free books for like the past year or so, and it's so thin that it's so easy to just like pick up real quick like you would a phone and just read a couple pages and put back down. You never have to worry about losing your place. Throw it in your purse for when you're going to like the doctor. It's just easy.
That's nice. And I like having that, when you're going places so that you don't just go straight to your phone, that I'm like, I have it with me. And so I'll like flip through it.
Yeah. And you can hold it with one hand when you're like sunbathing at the pool. It's not like cumbersome in bed, to have to like hold open.
See, that's the bedtime is the thing, because I used to love falling asleep reading a book, but it was always just kind of like holding it and then it would start to like, and I was like,
my arm's tired.
Nah, I'm over it.
Yeah. Kindle.
Life hack.
Telling you.
I gotta get some kids books on there.
Yeah.
Get Ember.
You can do that too.
Get her some Star Wars. Ember has become not overnight, but in the past few weeks has become a Star Wars fiend.
So this was when I was, I think I was 8 or 9. I was probably 9 or 10 when I first watched it. Did you know I was reading fanfic? Like I was a huge, huge Star Wars fan.
Girl, so was I. Like deep in the Star Wars galaxy.
I remember reading fanfic about like Han and Leia's relationship and like they had their kids' names. Like this is before, now they have obviously like the new ones.
Well, did you ever read those books? They had the kids' books that were like Jedi, I forget the name of it.
Oh yeah,
and
like
it was
Jedi Academy or something.
Yeah, something like that. I would read all of those.
Yeah.
Like, oh my gosh. It's so good.
I read the weird adult ones that were probably a little too sexy, but like my parents didn't know. They just thought they were Star Wars books.
Good.
And I was just like...
Those adult ones, when you were a kid and you hit that certain page and you're like, and you just reread it 17 times. And just like the same sentence 5 times over and over again. And I was like, what is this?
I know, and you're too little too to like even really understand, but you're just like so like you're just captivated by this.
But it's sparking something.
Yep.
Man, Star Wars, it was the best. It was everything. And so now, let me tell you, rewatching the original Star Wars with your kid, it's everything.
It's so funny you bring this up because literally just the other night I had never watched episode 3 when Anakin becomes Darth Vader. Because
so episode 3, in the correct order.
Yeah.
Of course, you wouldn't miscalculate that. You are a true Star Wars fan.
Got it. Yeah. I mean,
you
got episode 4, 5, and 6 that came 1, 2, 3.
Some people would say 6. That's the knee jerk, or some people would say 3 in reference to 6. But you
Return
would
of the
never.
Jedi. No, Return of the Jedi is 6.
Of course.
Obviously,
Princess Leia.
But where I have not even watched all the movies is the new ones that are, I guess, supposed to be 7, 8, 9, whatever.
Yeah,
bullshit.
I need to watch those. I've watched the first one and it was very good. And then you know what I did watch that I loved was Solo. Ooh.
I didn't watch that one.
That is a cool, sexy, that is a good movie.
Okay, I'll watch that one. Anyway, we watched episode 3, which I had never seen because like my parents went to go see it at the movies. I remember I must have been, I don't know how old I was, pretty young. I was probably like 12 or 13. My parents like, it's too dark. Like, we're not going to take you guys to watch it. So I had never seen it. So now I watched it for the first time. It's pretty good, actually. It's a pretty good movie, but
I love the movies.
I mean, 1 and 2,
I know.
though, are, everyone hates them.
With what's his face?
Anakin.
Jar Jar
Binks.
Binks.
Jar Jar Binks. Yeah,
I liked Jar Jar
I
Binks.
liked him too. And I remember talking to my cousin who was like, an old, like 10 years older Star Wars fan. He was like, everyone hates Jar Jar. And I was like,
I thought he was kind of funny. Now, the guy, what's his face? Hayden Christensen, who played Anakin. who was so cute, was
Yeah.
terrible.
Horrible.
You know it's a bad script when Natalie Portman and Liam Neeson are struggling. And Ewan McGregor.
I was literally
Like those are like top, some of the best actors in the whole world.
it was making me question Natalie Portman's acting skills.
Again, Liam Neeson, Natalie Portman, Ewan McGregor.
Yeah.
It was all brutal. That's how bad this
You could have
script
thrown
was.
Meryl Streep in there and you would have been like,
Put Meryl Streep in the Jar Jar Binks costume and it still would have been bad.
Now 4, 5, and 6 on the other hand, I mean, obviously we know 5 is the best movie out of all of them, obviously.
That's why we're friends.
Everyone
That's why
knows
we're
that.
friends.
Everyone knows that.
That's why
Empire
we're
Strikes
friends.
Back. No one can
Oh my
hold
God, the
candles to
scene
it,
in the Millennium Falcon with Han and Leia.
I mean,
When they're in the ice, whatever it is. Oh God.
anyway,
Well, Ember is deep. And watching, I showed her.
Did you guys watch episode 4 first, or like what?
Episode 4.
Yeah.
So this is what we did. We were like, a couple weeks ago, we were like, let's go to Disneyland. She hasn't been to Disneyland since she was 1, so she doesn't remember it. And I'm like, I haven't been in years. I'm like, oh my God, Star Wars Land.
Yeah.
Or whatever it's called. I'm so excited. I'm like, all of a sudden I'm getting like hyped like I'm a kid again. I'm like, Evan, there's a Star Wars Land. Evan's like, oh my God, because he was a huge Star Wars nerd too. And so I'm like, I want to show Ember the first movie so that maybe she'd like connect with it more because she gets really into it if she's seen it. But I was like, is it too? And it was actually, I watched it.
Like, is it too boring or
I thought it
intense?
might be kind of slow at parts, but because it's old, like all of the kind of more like fighting scenes are kind of like cheesy and it doesn't. Honestly, a lot of the kids' cartoons are way more intense than like that, at least that first episode. And that little girl who does not sit still, she was just like the whole time captivated. So then we go to Star Wars and she was living her truest life. Like she was in her best form.
And are they, because of COVID, are they doing the skits now or no?
They do, they'll do one. Now, see, that's the bummer. I heard in Star Wars Land that they have people interacting with you the whole time.
No, they used to. And I went with my nephews and like, they'll have like Darth Vader come out and they'll make all the kids, like they'll give all the kids lightsabers and the kids will each get to fight Darth Vader.
Oh, we have to go back once everything's
They'll do
over.
like Jedi training for the kids.
They had like a couple stormtroopers and Kylo Ren like above an overhang. Then they were like interacting with people. And of course, Ember goes right in the front. And she was like, I'm a Jedi.
Oh my God, she would have loved doing like the Jedi training and all that stuff.
We'll go. But she got her special lightsaber there. And she is like, now I've already got her like 12 Star Wars books. And that's like all of her new masks for school are Star Wars, like Chewbacca mouth.
Yeah.
It's intense.
Love it.
But she was like, they have that new ride there, Rise of the Resistance, that it came out pretty recently.
It's a whole new ride?
A whole new ride. And when I tell you, broads, I do not exaggerate when I say this, the wildest ride I've ever been on. Like, in the sense that, like, you wait in line, and then you go into this, they take a group of you, and you are in the resistance space. Like, the way that they, like, just the mass amount of money that has to be put into this. I can't describe it. It was so magical, and we waited for so long. Yeah. But it was worth it. We almost got out of line because we've been waiting for so long. And Ember was like, no, we're doing it. Because the ride kept breaking down. It's kind of new. And we're like, we think it's broken down. This is the third time. We don't think it's going to start up again. And Ember literally goes, I know it's going to start up again. We have to wait. And I'm like, okay, if you want to. She was right. It did. And we got on.
That's so
But
cool.
she went on every ride.
Wow.
Space Mountain. Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
I mean, she's 5
She's
on
tall
Indiana
enough for all
Jones.
those?
Barely. Like literally
40,
she was
48 and a half inches.
her head almost wasn't quite hitting it. And the lady at Indiana Jones was like, you're too small. And she's like, ugh. And she fixed her posture and it like barely then touched it. And the lady's like, oh, okay. And she's like, I have to get on. And I told her, I'm like, it's a little intense, Ember. It's kind of, it's a little scary. And she was like, I need to do it. She had her hands up on Space Mountain. Dude, she was wild. I was so thrown off.
Meanwhile, I was like 5 sobbing on like Pirates of the Caribbean.
Right? That's how I was. So I was like, we did the first ride we did it was Pirates.
Yeah.
The first ride we did. And she was like, I'm like, it's in the dark. And you think you'd be a little freaked out. Yeah. And she was just like, what's the next one? There was like, no, she loved it. She was laughing the whole time. And I'm like, okay, I guess, like, if you're down. And she just kept pushing it. And
that is so fun.
Indiana Jones, I was like really trying to communicate with her. I'm like, it's a little scary.
Yeah. It's a little intense.
It's really rough.
Yeah.
And she was like, I will go on it. And I'm like, okay.
Did she like it?
Loved it.
Yeah.
The second she was off, she's like, we got to go on it again. It was just over. She wanted to go on the same ones. So I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so much fun. But I was a little scaredy pants when I was her age. I wouldn't want to go on anything like that.
No, I remember when I was like 8 or 9, my mom forced me to go on like a giant roller coaster at Six Flags. I did love it though. But
yeah, it's fun once you've done it. Yeah. But I'm like thinking, oh my God, as soon as Ember's tall enough, like I'm taking her to Six Flags. Is it still open?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm like, oh gosh.
Like, did they go bankrupt or something?
I feel like, yeah, I don't know. Or at least take her to Knott's Berry Farm. She'll want to go on all those rides.
Yeah, and I guess they have a whole water park too. Splash Zone or something. So,
but it was so much fun.
That's so cool.
Yeah. And she's starting kindergarten in a couple days.
Wow, 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 wow.
I can't even believe it.
Life comes at you fast.
I can't even believe it. I'm like, I've been so like such a space cadet the past like couple weeks. I can't gather my thoughts. Been a little all over the place because I'm so nervous about her starting.
Yeah.
Yeah, just because like with COVID, like you can't take them to their class.
Yeah.
Like you can't meet the teacher, walk them in. You like drop them off first day, like out front, and you're like, bye. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. Like kindergarten. And then right now with her like daycare, you get like updates like, oh, this is what Ember did. Sure. But because it's kindergarten, there's none of those updates. So wow. I'm just going to be like, just the whole day, just like,
how's my baby?
Okay? Yeah, a little bit. A little bit.
It's a whole new environment.
Sorry, broads. Had to turn the air on. It was getting quite hot in here. Quite hot. I
think what else is new.
Yeah, how have you been feeling lately?
Been really anxious lately. I think it's also though sleep deprivation.
Yeah.
Sleep deprivation is very highly tied to my emotional and mental well-being.
Sure.
And it's so funny. I was like reading on a forum the other day and someone was like, I need like however much sleep you need a night. Doesn't matter how much sleep anyone else needs a night. That's how much you need a night.
No, it's individual.
If you're someone who needs 9 hours of sleep a night, you need 9 hours of sleep a night. If you're someone who could do 4, you could do 4. But which was kind of validating because I'm like, dude, I need 8 hours of sleep a night. Oh, I need it.
I think that's, well, first of all, like you said, everyone should have like what's right for them. But also like 8 hours, that's not crazy to me. I know one of our really good friends, he needs 12. Like he needs 12 hours of sleep. And that's like, it's long. But if you don't get that, you're going to feel bad.
No, and it's like the past 2 nights, for instance, I got like, you have to stay up late watching The Bachelor. The night before that, I just had to stay up late doing like getting things done for the next morning and then having to get up early. It's like, so 2 nights in a row, I got like maybe 6.5 hours of sleep, which isn't crazy. But
no, but especially like again, like when you need 8 hours of sleep. And then I think, when your brain has to be in a bunch of different zones, when it's like you have your space in your brain because of your child and for all of your different work ventures and for then trying to be creative and watching the show and process all of that. And then Instagram is like constant flow. Like that's a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's been kind of hard, but then also I have an assessment tomorrow because I think I have ADHD and I've been talking to my siblings and we've realized we think our entire family besides my mom has ADHD.
Really?
So, which I'm excited. It's not a disappointing thing. It's like a really exciting thing because I have my assessment tomorrow and all my life I've been like, why am I such a piece of shit that like can't just finish things, can't sit down and do things, is even doing stuff like if we're reading ads, I'm like, like trying to do other, like I get bored so quickly, I'm like trying to do other things on my phone, or like if I'm sitting and reading a textbook, I have to read the same page over and over and over again, and I'm like, but then there's other things where I can, if I'm into it, I can focus for like 5 hours straight, but then the minute I stop, I cannot not pick it back up. So all my life I've been confused, like why can other people like master skills, like finish things? So I'm excited. So if I get diagnosed with it, specifically inattentive ADHD, I'll be really happy.
What is inattentive ADHD?
Okay,
How
so
is that
there's
different?
3 types of ADHD, and I've just been learning this over the last few weeks, so I might not get this all right. But okay, so there's different like components of ADHD. So like there's hyperactive ADHD, which is when like, and sometimes you can have just like a couple characteristics from like one thing or the other, but like mainly one part of it. But the hyperactive part is like sort of, I guess, how people generally perceive ADHD, where you like have trouble sitting in a chair for long amounts of time. You're like, you do like stimulation things like picking or tapping or doing those kind of stuff. Maybe part of that too is like even like not being able to like keep eye contact with someone. Like you're just kind of like, your body is just kind of like, and then inattentive ADHD is more like struggling to complete tasks, getting bored really easily, struggling to like, this is a day in my life. I'll be like, oh, I'm gonna do the laundry. And so I go to do the laundry. When I go to get the detergent out of the cabinet, I'll be like, oh my God, the cabinet's a mess. I need to clean out the cabinet. And then while I'm cleaning out the cabinet, I'll like go to get plastic bags and I'll be like, oh, holy shit, I never took out the recycling yesterday. And then I'll go take out the recycling. And then like when I go do that, I'm like, oh my gosh, I should schedule an appointment to like get my car cleaned because like I see my car out by the trash cans, and I'll go do that. And then I'll get on my phone to schedule a car wash appointment. And then I'll go sit on my emails. And then before I know it, I'm like sitting doing an email or something, and then I get completely off track, and the laundry never gets actually put in the washing machine.
Right.
So, which is kind of my whole life. But then the confusing thing is, or not the confusing thing, the thing that throws you off is when your whole family functions in the same way.
Yeah, then how are you supposed to, you're like, this is
how everyone is.
Yeah, interesting.
So,
okay.
Or like what we think, I've just been chatting with like my sisters, like we think my mom doesn't really have much neurodivergency. So like I literally had a conversation with my mom. Oh, another part of inattentive. It's like forgetting things, like not knowing where your keys are, all that kind of stuff. Like I was at my parents in Fresno the other day, or a couple months ago, and we were at the pool. I got my mom's keys to go get my swimsuit out of the car. Then I went to the bathroom to change into my swimsuit. And like in the bathroom, I was like thinking about this fictional character that I had just read about in my book, and like thinking about how she must have felt when so much was going on. And of course I just like walk out to the pool. My mom's like, where's your keys? And I'm like, I have no idea where your keys are. And then it turns out, I left them right on the counter in the bathroom.
Sure. Okay.
And it's like that kind of stuff. And then there's one more component, which I think it's like ADHD types. But then there's another one too, which has to do with like, inattentive, hyperactive, and impulsive. And like some of the stuff of impulsive can be like, it's inattentive, hyperactive, impulsive, and combination. So you have the two. But then like some of the other things from hyperactive, impulsive are like interrupting people, and like you can't help but like I'm always trying to finish people's sentences, and like because my brain is just like you need to talk faster.
It's like your brain's firing off.
Which is a really good thing, because a lot of people who have ADHD are like very creative and can like, really have their hands in kind of everything, and your brain can be really quick and you can like keep up with things. But then it can be really difficult to function in a society where you're not supposed to be that way.
Did you have a tough time in school in that way?
No, and that's another thing. ADHD presents differently, and I'd actually love to have an expert on. ADHD presents differently.
I would love to have someone come on and talk to us.
Women, and a lot of women don't get diagnosed. I was reading a blog post the other day, like a lot of women don't get diagnosed with ADHD until they're in adulthood, and when they're at the point in their life where they feel like everything's like falling apart, and they're like, why can't I keep up with everything?
Interesting.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And a lot of times women get diagnosed with anxiety or depression and those things are actually...
Are they symptoms of the ADHD? Okay.
Of not being able to keep up with things, of feeling like incapable, of feeling overwhelmed. And luckily for me, like, it's funny, our last 2 nannies had ADHD, and nannying was the only job I was ever able to keep for like more than a year because it was different every day.
Sure.
I was never bored.
Sure.
It was a new challenge every single day.
Yeah.
And so I always liked that. But in other jobs, like I was just like always bored and would just be hating it like 2 or 3 months in. And so luckily now with my career, obviously it's like super on my own time whenever I have bursts of energy.
Shifts, it changes. Yeah.
But so, yeah, it'll be interesting to see if that ends up being the case. But it's just good to know sometimes like, oh, I'm not just like constantly failing of something in my own control. So, yeah.
I remember when I got my bipolar diagnosis that like a lot of like my friends and family or whatever were like when they said yes you have it, I remember a lot of people were like, oh my god, I'm so sorry. And I was like, no, I'm so happy that I now am able to put this to what's going on inside of me, and it makes me feel like seen, and it makes me have a sense of control of myself, and also like you said, this feeling of like, oh, I'm not just like losing my mind every day.
And also other people have it too. It's like how many other
then you're able to I started going to a bipolar support group.
Yeah.
And it was awesome. I would like go like every other week or every week, I don't even remember now. And it was like for the first few months after my diagnosis, and it was so nice to like talk to people about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I was reading like I found ADHD Reddit and I was just like, "Oh. Like you guys all completely like understand this." And then there's like nuanced conversations too about like you can't blame everything on this condition, and you can't, it's like it's good to have those tools, and that's part of why the internet's so cool.
That's exciting though.
So
I'm happy that that's something that did you just kind of start researching it, and then you were like, and then you kind of stumbled upon it? The idea that maybe that's...
I don't know. I think my sister brought up like, I think my sister said something like, I don't know if I have ADHD. I don't know. My little sister. It was definitely like in the past couple weeks where I was like, well, here's a big sign too of anything in general. When you hear other people talking about it and you go, well, that's not real because everyone goes through that.
Yes.
That is probably a sign that maybe not everyone goes through it, but you are experiencing the same thing because you might have the said
exactly
thing.
It's just like, no, not everybody. Yep.
So all throughout my life, and then even like 3 months ago, I saw someone posting about like, actually this is what it was like maybe 3 or 4 months ago, someone reposted a little one of those from an ADHD page where it was like, if you may have trouble with this or that, and I was like, oh, please. Like everyone struggles with completing this, that, or the other. Like everyone avoids like bills and emails and any kind of paperwork for months. Like, oh my gosh. Like, yeah. Anyway. And I was like, everyone does that. And then it's like, okay. And then I was reading more. And then other people are telling me like, no, not everyone deals with that.
Yes.
And then it's like, oh. But I think ADHD is super common because I was even texting a couple friends being like, you should look into this because you know how me and you bond with each other like about this stuff?
Yeah, you're like, it might be this.
You know how it's physically impossible for you to pay like a parking ticket until it's like 3 months overdue and you absolutely have to? Like... It might not be your anxiety. Your anxiety might be a symptom of having difficulty doing these things.
You're always firing off in so many ways, and there's always like you're such a hard worker. Like probably one of the hardest workers I've ever met. Nonstop.
Wow,
no, you're not. It's nonstop. But then there'll be random things where you're just like, yeah, no, I couldn't open that email, and I'm like, totally understandable. But also, you're like a working machine.
Taxes, like, can't. I just categorizing my expenses on QuickBooks, I can't do it. It's gonna like literally where my brain goes when I think about doing it is like, it's gonna be so boring, I'm going to die. Like that is literally like how I feel. I'm like, I won't be able to handle it.
And does that boredom of it cause you, the thought of the boredom cause you anxiety when you're like, I have to do it?
Yes. I'm like, this will be so, and it's not true. Well, it is horrible, but it's once you get one thing, you're like, oh, I definitely could have just driven to UPS 3 weeks ago to drop off my return so that it would have been accepted.
But it's giving you like massive anxiety to like go and do
and I'm just
it.
like, it's gonna be so unpleasant. It's gonna be it's gonna be horrible. It's gonna be horrible.
Yeah.
Just gonna hate every second of it. So instead, I'm gonna do all these other things.
But that's the reality of it.
Yeah.
Like that's the reality of it for you. That's what's always just so interesting to me, which I so appreciate in the past, like, maybe 15 years, how there's been such a push towards mental health. Because it's like we were all supposed to fit in one, like, standard personality type for however long.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, if you don't do that, you're lazy. Or if you do that, you're selfish. Or if you do that, you're crazy. And it's like, no, like, that's who I am, and that's literally like my brain chemistry.
Yeah.
And your brain chemistry is different, and so you're able to do that.
Yeah, and it's interesting because there's a lot of messages too with like Christianity that I think are blended into capitalism stuff too. But like, I feel like I was told all my life I was so lazy, and I still have to fight that sometimes of being like, wait, I'm not lazy, but like I know
you feel lazy.
Oh, I've been told so much of my life that I'm lazy.
Are you for real?
Yes, I'm too. I mean, yeah, it was stuff where my parents were like, you're too lazy to like, clean everything off of your bed, and like you're too lazy. And it's just the thing is, it's just different. Like I was, I might have been too lazy to sit and like go through my mail or to, organize everything under my bed. But I wasn't too lazy to like sit down on an art project and work on it for 8 hours straight. You know?
And then
like,
and then was that then kind of looked at like, but that's like selfish.
Yeah,
or more
probably,
like like more frivolous or whatever.
Yeah, like it's lazy. It's like lazy to not do the thing that you have to do, which to me is like not super biblical. It's just like Western Christianity, capitalism.
Yes.
Of like,
yes.
Pull yourself up by your bootstraps and just do your work. And so, yeah.
Wow. I'm excited to hear.
Me too. They're like, no, bitch, you don't have anything. Nope, you're totally neurotypical.
I feel like though, like even if like in the assessment, if the person doing the assessment would be like, no, you don't have it, I'm sure then there'll be at least a direction that they could send you in, where it's like, maybe you should check out this, specific thing. Like you might be
some type of therapy, this type of
right.
Yeah.
Because I feel like there's so many things that like also aren't currently named. Like not everything has a name to it, and there are different versions of different things that don't have names.
Totally, yeah. But it'll be interesting to then go from there because I already know like I can't do stimulant medication. Yeah, it's just like recreationally doing like Ritalin and Adderall. I would feel great while I was on it, and then the plummet,
the come down from it.
Like the emotional plummet would be like, oh my God, my life is over. Like when I'd come down. So yeah, but it's good to, there's so many resources out there.
Yeah. That's the thing I was going to say. And even like, there's so many resources, I'm sure. And even if there wouldn't be any, just knowing you can then be generous with yourself.
Like, that's just my ADHD,
Just saying about everything. No, but for real, it's just like the waiter.
Sorry, I can't come tonight. It's my ADHD.
My ADHD. You know how it goes.
Can't pay the bill, guys. It's my ADHD. Yeah.
No, but I do think there is so much power in putting a name to something. At least that's my experience.
Yeah. Totes. How have you been doing? You said you've been having some things. My
eyelash just stuck to the top of my eyelid when I did that. Yeah, I've been anxious. I've been so anxious.
Me too, dude.
I'm sad you're anxious. I don't want you to be anxious. I want you to feel good, but it also makes me feel comfort that you're also anxious.
Yeah, I'm normally not like flatline anxiety, but like I've been that way lately.
Yeah, I am. For years, I was like, I've had like generalized anxiety disorder, and then would have the panic attacks and all that, and then got the bipolar diagnosis after a few years with like mania and depressive and whatever. Yeah. But then I was doing well for a long time, and it was so weird. I had over the past maybe 6 months, like 1 or 2 manic episodes that lasted for like a couple days.
Yeah.
Nothing that ended, thank goodness, nothing that ended in anything that was like unfortunate. I was just, what was unfortunate was my credit card.
What was fortunate was your fashion.
What was fortunate is that I was slaying the runway. The people at the bar had never seen anything like it before. I was also standing on top of the bar. But so it was nothing but, fun times and pain on the credit card bill. But
and the hangovers.
Honestly, when I'm manic, the hangovers they don't really affect me too much.
Let's go again, bitch.
A little bit. Can be a little dangerous. But that's the thing that's so weird with bipolar, is that you're like, the mania can be like so dangerous and bad and like ruin relationships and whatever, but like it also feels really like good a lot. But what was weird is what started then to follow after I had my second little manic episode, started to get regular anxiety. And I was like, oh no, are we pedaling back? But it's just like what you're saying is like, yes, of course, you'd have like, per human nature, you have like a week where you're very anxious or whatever. But I've been having like what you're saying, where it's like flatline anxiety, where it's like I wake up every day and you go to sleep every day. And I'm like, I don't know what is causing this. Like I can make guesses, but it's also then like, oh, you're on vacation or you have it.
Right.
Like I was going on vacation, and this is very much not like me. I was so paranoid that something was going to happen on the plane and I'd never see Ember and Evan again. And I'm normally not like that. Yeah. I don't go, like I'm a fearful person, but I'm not doing that.
Right.
And I was like having like panic. Oh my God. And like saying goodbye to Ember, I like was losing it. And I'm like, it's like, I'm gonna see her in a couple days.
But then you have that thing too, where you're like, is this my intuition telling me that this is the last time I'll see her. This is the last time I'll see her.
And I was like, and I dropped her off with my mom, and I was like bawling, and my mom was like, what? Because she doesn't normally see me like that. She's like, what is wrong? I was like, I don't know. Like, I don't know why. But yeah, it's just been consistent. Mm-hmm. And then, and then you get home and you're just a day with the family, nothing really planned, full anxiety the whole time. And I'm like, what is going on?
When you get anxiety, do you ever get, can get very jittery too, like very like kind of electricity through my body.
Yes. So jittery. I feel like, to be honest, I feel like this whole episode I've been looking at both of our hands, and the whole time we've literally just both been like, and I'm not normally like fiddly. You always, you're moving, but you're always moving.
No, I know.
But I stay in the same place, but I'm just like,
I've been waking up. You know what? And I don't want to write it off to just one simple thing, but for me, it is very, very heavily tied to the devices.
I will tell you that last week, even though I still felt anxious, when I said I'm going off of this phone, and I went off minus the quick little Greg check-in and then answering like text messages, it was like it helped probably 80%.
Yeah.
Like took it almost 80% away.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind of want to get like an old school phone.
Oh my God. So they have these phones that are called, what are they called? I don't know, but they've made a phone that's like that now. That's like a contemporary phone that's called like the light phone or like the something phone. And it's like that. It's like let me look it up. I think it's called light phone. But that's the whole idea behind it.
Like I kind of want, I'm like, is there a way for me to attach my current phone number?
Yeah.
Or like to that phone that I can take that phone out and about with me and leave my Instagram phone at home and my email phone at home.
That's not a bad idea, literally having a work phone. But oh my God, Jess, I don't know if I can live without maps.
Oh yeah, that's
we need to
very
get GPS
true.
in our car.
We just need a Thomas guide.
What is that?
It's those old books. Remember those in the back of the car with the parents? Because you need a Thomas guide. Young broads, back in the day before there was even computers where you could print out MapQuest, we would have Thomas guides, and Lord knows I still could never read a map.
My mom used to do like my grandparents had they were florists. So my mom would do delivery and they would just have one of those big city maps on the wall at the delivery place. And you'd be like, okay, 427 Willow Street. Okay, looks like this is the route I should take to get there. And then you would go. Can you imagine?
You know what all makes sense to me? I feel like back in the day, there was always these like kind of scary movies about getting lost.
That's why.
That's why, because now you don't get lost. Like you could always find something or a phone somewhere. If my phone were to die,
I've had that happen. I've been like, when I first moved to LA, I remember one time where like my phone died and I didn't have a charger and I was just like,
it's like, what am I supposed to do?
What
like,
now?
I guess I just will die here.
And I think I like had to get to work, but like I didn't have my employer's number. So you're just like, okay,
oh my God. Like, what am I, even if someone were to call me right now, if like, let's just say my maps wasn't loading and would call me on the phone and be giving me verbal directions, I would probably not be able to get there.
Remember when you would print out MapQuest instructions and have them in your car?
That feels very fresh to me.
Yeah, that feels.
If my phone died 2 miles from my home, and I've lived here for about 4 years, I would have a hard time getting back. I am so reliant on maps. So reliant. I don't remember directions. I never have. It used to make my parents so mad that I would never remember directions.
And people are like, head west on whatever, and you're like,
I'm like, what is west? What?
You're telling me what I'm gonna have to like look at the sun and like try
like,
to
what am I supposed to
determine? I'm like, I think it rose over there this morning, so rises in.
I'm like, you spin me around and I don't know what.
Where's the North Star? Like,
oh my God, can you imagine being a on a ship? Yeah, back in the day.
No.
What does that mean?
I wouldn't be doing that. I would be knitting at home. You ever read though, like Eric Shackleton, who's like in 1907, they literally were like, let's go to Antarctica, and like they like survived that. How?
You know what? No, I also would like to do a full episode on Antarctica because I got a lot of questions. I've been kind of diving into Antarctica lately, and I'm feeling very sus about it.
This is another thing. Why are we like trying to explore like the moon when we could like develop? Would it mess up the ecosystem if we were to develop like a warm dome in like Antarctica?
I have truly no idea, but that makes way more sense to me.
Or like Russia is like most of it's uninhabited.
Yes. Also, I can never get over the fact, 80% of the ocean is unexplored. Like, we know more of space than we do of the ocean.
Yeah,
like,
why don't we make Atlantis?
Like, hey, fucking Jeff Bezos, why don't you build a gnarly submarine and get to the bottom of the ocean? What if there's resources down there that we could use?
What if we can get to the center of the earth, like enduring the center of the earth?
Oh my gosh, that book gave me so many nightmares. So scary.
I never read it. I just watched both the old and new movie.
The book freaked me out big time. I read it, cried, reread it again, couldn't fall asleep. I couldn't stop reading it though. It was one of those books. Speaking of anxiety.
Anyway, well, sorry to hear that though.
Yeah, it's, it is what it is. That's why I've been drinking my green juices.
Oh, I meant to ask you at the top of that. That's what I forgot to ask you. Yeah, why have you been drinking green juice?
Because I'm trying to figure out like some maybe way to make me feel better. I'm like, maybe it's something that I'm eating. So I've been trying to eat healthier the past couple weeks. Yeah, just like release it all on the mat. I'm trying to really let it out on weights at the gym.
Maybe we should actually try really hard. Maybe we should do like a challenge with the broads. We'll think it up and like talk about it next week or something. Maybe we should try to do a screens off at a certain point of the night.
I really like that idea.
I know, and I like it until then I want to look up a Zillow listing in Utah at 10:30 p.m.
And I like it until I all of a sudden get massive anxiety about like what did I miss that happened in Bachelor Nation that I don't want to have to do all the research for.
Yeah.
Once the next day is passed. It's a little bit like it all happens so quickly that then you're like, I missed everything.
I know.
And I don't really want to know everything.
That's true.
But then I also feel uninformed.
It's true.
And I don't like feeling uninformed.
Yeah. You don't want to be in the dark.
So that's why I'm drinking my juice instead. My cucumber celery.
I can see your brain healing with every sip.
Thank you. I feel so much better.
You know, I was telling somebody the other day, I was like, no, I just like don't, like, you know, people think I eat healthy. No, I just like don't eat vegetables except when I drink them on the days that I'm at your house and order juice. I don't. I only eat bread and cheese and meat now, literally.
For real?
Pretty much. Not purposely. It's just the only thing I want to eat anymore.
I always noticed that when you ate, it was always very just balanced. Like, I'd be like, oh, I'd see you eat like something like very clean.
When I'm here, when I'm ordering food here, though, I always order healthy, balanced food here.
Why do you think you do that here? Are you flexing on this hoe?
No, because when I
eat my goldfish,
when I order food in the middle of the day when I'm not starving high at 10 p.m., it's different. When I'm ordering food, which most of the time I'm not like ordering food, I'm usually like, you know, eating at home or whatever. Then I'm like, oh yeah, I'll get a smoothie, a juice, and maybe like a rice bowl.
Yeah.
And that is healthy and balanced. But at home, I'm like, let's get a pizza. Then tomorrow morning, we're going to have bacon for breakfast. And then for lunch, I'm going to have like, you know, I'm going to have some form of tacos. And then for dinner, we're going to have, I know, it's bomb.
It's delicious.
And that's all I want to eat anymore. And then I'll have cheese as a snack.
That's really all that I eat as a snack is cheese. I do feel like the one thing that I am trying to not do as much because I feel like it is fucking with my sleep is eating really late. I have a hard time not eating late. I'm a big late night eater. And I've noticed that when I don't eat too late, my sleep, I do better sleeping. But it's hard for me to not get my nibble on in the evening time.
Yeah, I've been trying not to get reliant on melatonin because I started taking melatonin. Now it's a little addicting.
Oh, sure. Yeah, when you're able to like conk out pretty fast. I mean, it is natural.
I know, and I know, but then your body can start becoming reliant on the melatonin. It doesn't produce as much of its natural melatonin.
Yeah, so. I considered having some melatonin recently, and I'm like, there's this part of me that feels like I'm gonna just start taking it every night.
I try to take it only like a couple times a week when I really need to get a good night's sleep. But
I just hit up that NyQuil every night, baby.
Diphenhydramine. Actually, no, they don't put diphenhydramine in it anymore.
In NyQuil? Mm-hmm. I know that they have that ZQuil stuff. I see that, and I'm like, is that just for the sleepies?
When I always tell people, I'm like, no, like the active ingredient used to be in NyQuil. It's just Benadryl. It's 25 milligrams of diphenhydramine.
I don't know medical words.
I only know that because of my peanut allergy. So I always have to have Benadryl, which is diphenhydramine. And when you actually start looking at the ingredients, you realize like, oh, I could pay this much for NyQuil, or I could just pay this much to just buy off-brand Benadryl.
Oh, the things you learn on this podcast.
Science, mental health,
space, Antarctica, the great frontier.
Music, God, Antarctica.
Well, we really did cover the spectrum of the universe.
Okay, you know what I'm excited for this week is the Bros episode. We'll see.
I am very excited for the Bros episode.
Now, I'm going to tell you guys right now is that Gray's been hyping up how he's going to go off about our episode with Eric. Grayson has not listened to that episode, and I highly doubt he will have even listened to it by the time they record.
When he was doing that, I was laughing so hard. I was dying. Do you think that they'll bring maybe an ex on of his?
I keep telling, I'm like, yeah, do it.
That'd be great.
I don't give a fuck.
the side eyes. I don't care.
Yeah, no, but he's been hyping it up. He's like, oh, I will have words. I guarantee when they go and sit down and record, he will not. I would bet money that he will not have listened to it.
They will be fully consumed by The Bachelor. Also, they have so many hours of The Bachelor to watch. But Gray watches it with you.
Gray's caught up pretty much.
Poor Evan has not caught up. And he, I guess
make him watch last week and this week's, I guess.
No, he needs to watch all of them. He needs to. He's in.
He's busy.
I know, I feel really bad. He's been so busy. I told him though he is in Seattle right now, so I made him download an episode. I'm like, watch this on the plane, and then you can watch another episode on the way back. And he's like, but I have to work. I'm like, this is work. Yeah, and he's like, but I need this to get the set ready. He is been a busy man these days.
Busy broad, busy bro.
Maybe that also might be part of my anxiety, by the way, is that I got so used to having him around during the pandemic. And I'm going to sound like a simp for my husband, but like he had been so busy for so long or gone so often that all of a sudden having him around, like I loved it so much.
Totally. You have someone to work next to. You have your little built-in companion, your helper.
It was so nice. And even on the days when you're like, oh man, this thing is lasting for so long and like you're in the same house, it was like, oh my God, like every night when we go to sleep, like you're sleeping next to me versus like you're not on the road. Like it's like, oh my God, like at least if I don't see you all day, like we fall asleep next to each other. And like he's a big, like his like just presence around is like an anxiety soother for me. And so he's been gone. So that might also be part of it. So I blame him.
Evan, her mental health is deteriorating
You're gonna
because
have to
of you.
Quit your job. He told me the other day, he's like, do you realize, he's like, you've like never been to any of the shows that I music direct?
That's not true. You guys went to watch the Black Bear one from the hotel.
I know, but that was like not, that was
that was a stupid COVID
that
one.
that was a live, like it was really done really beautifully. He did a fantastic job, but not like a proper
live show.
And when he was, when I was in Mexico, he had one at the Greek and he was like FaceTiming me. He's like, you've never been to one of my shows. I'm like, I'm sorry. It just always falls on a day that I'm not around.
Well, Evan can invite us.
Right?
Tell him. Invite us. We'll
I told him. I don't know, who knows because of the COVID times, but I think Black Bear and Maroon 5 are supposed to be coming to the Forum.
You know, the minute you said Maroon 5, in my head it was like, dun, 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 dun.
But anyways, it's at the Forum, so maybe we can go to that. Broads, if you're there, let me know. Again, who knows with the COVID right now, but we'll see.
Anyway,
well, that was an episode filled with all sorts of catch up and science and, all the
education.
Things.
Also, don't forget, our live show is this Sunday where we're going to be doing all the pre-Bachelor in Paradise breakdown. It's going to be so much fun.
So much fun. And
it's the only place you can listen to all that jazz.
That's right. And if you purchase a ticket for it, you'll be able to watch the live show version 48 hours afterwards. So I know some of you were sending us messages like, I have work or I'm not in town. If you get a ticket, you can watch it for 48 hours after the actual live show, but it will be live. So this is going to be raw.
We've never actually had a live streamed show before.
We've never had a live stream show, and we're doing it with Evan and Gray. And to say I'm not a little nervous would be a lie.
I know.
We might have to be like, cut. It's like be like cutting cords in the back because all of a sudden it's like, end it. Just have the screen black
You're just like
out.
diving like, no, for the camera. Did you already say people will get to watch it for 48 hours?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We got that covered. Yeah. So you can watch it basically Sunday afternoon through Tuesday afternoon at your leisure if you don't want to watch it live. But the live will be.
It'll be wild.
Sure will be fun.
At your leisure, broads. We love you all, and we'll chat soon.